Hello, loves. Welcome, welcome, or welcome back. I'm excited to share a message. I've been receiving a sense of needing to change perspective about self. I've started to use my crystal ball again, and I was receiving these kind of images of the same thing but in different ways, the same face but in different roles. And there's something around perspective of self and getting unstuck from a rigidity that is literally, it's just in the mind, it's just a perception. And it's like a box or a ceiling that is not allowing us to see ourselves in a different way. So yeah, that's what's coming through. It's kind of nudging me. So let's just take a moment to settle in the heart space and really come into the body. Supreme goodness, great spirit, our whole. I open my heart to receive information. I step out of the way. God, speak through me, move through me. Thank you for this beautiful space. May we receive the highest guidance, activations, shifts, deeper awareness to guide us on our path. And what do we need to know? Clear. In this moment, to open our perspective, to see ourselves as you do, to see ourselves as Spirit sees us, right? Which is always in our highest potential. Portal of light. And on the bottom of the deck, Wings of Isis. So I've decided to use the Isis deck. Her energy is really, she's like a Grail Queen energy. It's very supportive of the knowing of our feminine powers and essence, and how to really ground into what that actually means for us in our day-to-day life. Like, if we've come to this reality to master the experience of energy, like, what are we doing with that? And I feel like her energy really, it's available, the medicine is available for us to really ground into our feminine essence. And what's coming through as well, it's like the notion or idea of power. And if that brings up, it's like bringing up a little bit of, I can feel a bit of a fear around that due to ingrained conditioning around what power means and what it means to have power, because we've been living in a reality where it's been a power over structure for a very, very long time. So a lot of us have kind of cellular resistance to the notion of owning power. But really we have to make the distinction between natural innate life force power and the way that energy in that way has been used in the past reality and in the patriarchal way. So we have to really get clear on what that is, to then give ourselves permission to kind of reclaim this natural essence, 444, which we've been taught to fear and be suspicious of. Like, there's massive conditioning, and it's kind of in our body around like the fact that our raw feminine essence and life force is the magic itself. And it's like that, the dogs are always going mad around here, or is really barking or howling. And it's like this innate feeling that something's wrong with my power, that it's destructive, that it might be dangerous, that I'm not capable of holding it, or that there are going to be consequences in some way of using your power. And then all this kind of misunderstanding around what it actually is, because it's been put into us that somebody has power over us, or we are inferior to something, or somehow we need permission in some way. Oh, there's a card missing. That's interesting. So really, it's like an invitation. I feel like it's an invitation for somebody to look at, when we reach the point of power reclamation, look within you and really see it for what it is. If you have any feelings that, how can I put this, like somatically you're finding it difficult to actually open to, like the fullness of what it is that you want, the fullness of what you desire, the fullness of everything that you've visioned and seen for your life. But then there's this, I can feel like a somatic, a full body resistance. There's some type of fear there, or simply an error in thoughts, which we've all had. We've all grown up in this big convoluted entanglement with many errors in thought. When we make a decision about something, or we naturally take in somebody else's belief, it's not necessarily true, but then we function from that space. So sometimes it's correcting these errors in thought, and then once we can release that construct, it's like domino effect of everything that was built on that kind of crumbling. So it's an error in thought that your innate power is destructive or dangerous. It's not only safe for you to hold, but it's yours. It belongs to you. It's the essence of who you are and the way that spirit wishes to uniquely express itself through you. So one of the ways that we've been prevented from being in our power is by this instilled error in thought that tells us that there's something innately wrong with it, that we're not capable of holding it, that there's something to fear, that something terrible is going to happen. It's not true. So look at it from a very, I suppose, this is where we can use our minds by applying that sort of logic and reason in a way to deconstruct what have become beliefs that are ingrained. Shine the light on them is what's coming through. And this is what, look, I mean, I guess, portal of light. And it's always good to just take a moment to breathe in the card. That's why I like, beautiful illustrations and thought out expressions of the energy. Especially with the shamanic cards, like the first way, because they're symbols. So the first way that you receive the message is through that symbol, through that visual. And it also teaches us to expand our capacity or our consciousness around the fact that we receive in multiple different ways, not just the obvious kind of ways. We can receive a message in different ways. Someone's receiving the same message in multiple ways at the moment. Maybe that's where the shift in perception is. You're so busy focused on something, you're not seeing fully what spirit is trying to show you, the same thing in multiple ways. Portal of light. She glides on wings through time and space. Yeah, this is kind of speaking into the fact that we're not linear beings, we're multidimensional. So it's speaking into, Isis is a very intelligent energy. She's a Grail Queen energy. It's not just all love and light. She teaches us what it is to be fully embodied in the feminine essence, which is all shades, colours. It's light and dark. It's the shadow as well. And her energy is pure Sophianic embodiment. And this is like a reminder of your multi-dimensional presence. Whatever you're focused, I'm getting the word fixated on right now, is just physical. It's either physical appearance, it's a physical circumstance, it's an outcome. I'm hearing it's an outcome that you may have attached to. So the Portal of Light card is like, well, be conscious of all levels, not just the obvious or the physical world. It's kind of a call to work with your healing powers beyond what's happening, beyond time and space. Allow your sense of self to expand. So she's speaking into that in a multi-dimensional way. Allow your sense of self to expand. And to do that, there's something around busting out of this perceptual box that you've either put yourself in or it's just life, isn't it? Shit happens. I'm feeling quite constricted in the throat. Maybe it's something to do with silence, feeling unable to speak truth, be yourself, and you've boxed yourself off because of that. And it's just not you. It doesn't represent you. It's just this linear track that I feel like you're kind of, you've got a one-track mind at the moment. So it's like, remind yourself that you are so much more than that. And I feel like as well, this perceptual shift is going to be freeing, because I feel like this is weighing you down a little bit. There's something that's a bit heavy about it, but not in substance, more like it's because it's not who you are, it's causing you like discomfort. So I'm going to read you a little bit of this now. You are growing in power and awareness. You have had breakthrough insights where you realize you're not who you thought you were. You are, in fact, a much vaster being. Sometimes this was shocking and uncomfortable and difficult to accept. At other times it was gentle and made much sense to you. You are learning to integrate this awareness of your vast self into your life. So it's just that energy of reminding you how extraordinary it is to expand into the vastness of life. Portal of light. Portal of light is speaking into the vastness of life. And it's like, she's like, there are wonderful things awaiting you, and you know that. And I feel like this is why it's getting you down, because you know all of this and you're really on that deep path to really accepting who you truly fucking are. But then there's just these things that and all it's just a perception. It literally is. Like, I've experienced this recently as well. Again, it's like perceptions about everything change when we shift our consciousness. So when we have that perceptual shift in one way, or we access a new layer of consciousness, it's like, ooh, And it can literally just release on the spot if we're not attached to anything. And attachments was coming through before, because, and yeah, that was it, wasn't it? It was exiting the matrix is easy if you know you're in control. And this is how you get control. This is how you know you, because you're a portal of light and you know it. And when we can release those attachments, it's literally as, it can be as simple as that. If they pop off, and really that's the work, isn't it? The work isn't always perception. Again, this was like the ball. It was like the same thing in different ways, or looking at one thing and not seeing another. What we're focused on, what our mind is focused on, or what we've been trained to focus on, is not necessarily the thing. It's not necessarily the thing that's shifting, the core thing, or the thing we need to focus on. So just be willing to expand that, to lift and break away, you know, any perceptual boxes that limit my capacity to see myself in my fullness. It speaks into learning to create freedom from trauma, attachment, history, and any other situation that may drain life force and distract from divine love, no matter whether occurring in this or any other lifetime. So I like the way it says distract from divine love. You're already well on a path of truly knowing what self-love is. You've done a lot of work. But it's like these last things that feel so impossible and old as well. That's where the heaviness is coming from, because they feel so old now to be looping in the same way about something. They're a distraction, right? And you know that, and you know that's all it is, and that's why you're getting irritated. I can feel a little bit of frustration, because it's like, why is this still happening? But it's literally one shift in perception. I'm only laughing because I've been through this so many times, and then also that moment of actually getting the shift. Like, what better experience is there in this life now? It's like the internal work is everything. That's where it's at. That's where we're at. We're in here. We're not out there. And as women, a lot of our journey is really allowing ourselves to fucking put ourselves first and to do what it takes, no matter what, to keep ourselves centered, resourced, and in connection to what we want, to what we truly want, and giving ourselves permission to think that, to speak it, to do it. And there's something there around the throat. I feel like if there's something to say, find a way to say it. Trust yourself that you can communicate in a new way, because you can. If the old feels so uncomfortable, it's because it isn't you. It never was, but it definitely isn't you now. But it gets stuck in our throat, and we are on the threshold of the change. We're at the pivot point, and it's in those moments. How do we be? How do we respond? Who am I in relation to this? So there's a space here for a new conversation, which is beautiful. You're going to feel so much lighter and more empowered. You can do it. Find the words. Ask Spirit to speak through you. Set an intention before a conversation. I'm getting to bring harmony and balance. Keep it to the truth. Speak your truth from your heart and all will be well. The Oracle of the Portal of Light also brings special guidance that a phase of time or experience is over and a new cycle at a higher vibration turn of the spiral is beginning. So prepare to ascend. Expect things to become lighter, freer and faster moving in your life. Even perhaps whilst you appear to be more surrendered and more peaceful within yourself. And the key thing there is expect things. Expect it. I feel like, yeah, with this work that you've already done, you've already invested real energy and attention in what it is that you wish to create. Even if you don't, I'm getting that you don't really have a clear vision of that, but you know how you want to feel in your life. Expect it to be your reality as if it already is. And this is really interesting because I've been getting a lot around this today. Like something dropping in around the ability to shift your state of consciousness to where it is you wish to be. I suppose it's law of assumption, isn't it? Wish fulfilled. And I do find law of assumption a lot more useful than the law of attraction. Law of attraction is it's more basic to me. It's very basic. And when people talk about it often, they don't go deep enough into it to give a real understanding. Well, it's just not that easy, is it? Because we're unlearning and relearning, so everything's not easy to understand in one layer. There's always deeper layers. Yeah. So there's confirmation here of that deep relationship that's already present to self and to the journey that you've already had. Wings of Isis, uniting with the angelic self. So this is like you've already got a really beautiful divine relationship. You've 2244. You've nurtured that. And this card is beautiful. It's like spirit recognize. Spirit can see that. Everything is seen. Everything's witnessed. Everything's felt. And you have a deeper relationship than you realize, in the sense that there's so much support there and recognition. Part of your soul purpose is to birth angelic consciousness and values such as fearlessness, compassion, and service into this human culture. This oracle brings you angelic assistance and intervention and confirmation that any impressions you may have had that you belong not only to the human kingdom but also to the angelic one are correct. How divine. And this is about bringing divine will into human form, essentially. This is about living a life in devotion and knowing truly what your true identity and relationship to spirit is. It's really beautiful. This is about dropping deeper into like acceptance of that and really working in communion. So talking to them, communicating, guided to accept angelic assistance. And you can ask for the Lady Isis, who loves you unconditionally, right? All benevolent guides and gods, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the Great Spirit loves. It's an unconditional force of nature. It's a life-giving, benevolent force. Our highest timeline is always God's will, because this is a beautiful universe and that's the way that it's set up. It is goodness personified. It's life force. So there's something around really unifying with that truth in your heart, because it will give you a power up. And then you'll be able to see yourself from that perspective. And I feel like that deeper knowing is going to help you to bust through these perceptual boxes, which are essentially 3D, like they're the matrix boxes. It's just stuff that's bound, like bugging your brain almost. I can feel like that kind of energy. But it's nothing in comparison to, it's just old shit. It's just a habitual construct that's been there for so long. You're just more conscious of it now. So you've got to remember who you are, come up and over that, and speak to spirit. Ask for the assistance of, if you don't know their names, if you've never connected, it doesn't matter. It's a frequency, and it's your intention from your heart that is the command. So you simply ask to connect to your benevolent guides and ancestors who love you unconditionally. And just sit in the space. And even if you don't feel as if you are, like, I'm hearing expectations, like however you normally receive, I feel like there's an up, because this is all talking about expansion of our perception of self. So expand drop the expectations, that's an attachment, to how you receive from spirit, how that normally looks. If you normally hear things or see things, I feel like that may be blocked at the moment. And if it is, it's because it's asking you, it's trying to train you into receiving in different ways and through different senses, which may be coming online. They may not be fully present yet. But the way that we access the new is to drop all expectation in that space and be purely present in the void, with no expectation at all, just an open, willing heart and pure presence. And what is present, because there'll always be something in whatever way, just trust what is and lean into that. So some of you may have already been like communing more with God. I'm hearing like more than usual. And it's understandable, right? Because we're living in very chaotic, uncertain times. And even if people don't normally practice prayer, you know, there will be an upsurge in these times, because it can be increasingly challenging to center in a sense of hope, especially if we're out in the world a lot or we have to listen to the news and stuff like that. So you may have already been praying or connecting a little bit more, and this has strengthened your connection. This is like a confirmation that you're being heard, even if you don't feel or see that yet. And I think maybe that's where the feeling of not getting anything is coming in. There hasn't been any confirmation, right? Well, this is your confirmation that the angels are with you and they send you love. Your guides, your ancestors, they're here to help you, they support you. And there's such a beautiful, deep, loving presence. And it's really to just lean into that through that unseen space that we don't always trust. But that's where it's at. And I feel like there's a link, I don't know why, but I feel like there's a link to the shadow there. Okay, I'm hearing control. So maybe this practice, so when we have a lot of expectations and we're quite, and these perceptual boxes, and we're looking at things certain ways, and there's a rigidity there, right? There's a rigidity. And sometimes we can get a little bit, it's a controlling energy. We're trying to control things. It's not a controlling energy personality wise, but energetically it seeks to control because it's fear-based. So, in other words, this is going to unlock something else if you surrender and know that you're loved, know that they're present with you, know that your prayers are being heard. Just because you haven't seen any evidence of it doesn't mean it isn't true. It's like I'm getting like inner child energy as well, because I know myself, like if I step back from myself and kind of witness how I'm feeling maybe about something, or many times I've also got into that kind of like frustrated energy or feeling like I'm not getting what I expected. And sometimes we don't know we've got expectations until they're kind of thwarted, and then we're left with this vibration and you're like, well, what is this? And then we realise we did have an expectation. So, and that's okay. It's just witnessing those parts of ourselves with love as well. Everything has to be witnessed with great love. It's so dead and old now for us to be criticising and judging ourselves. It has to stop for us to progress. Clear. So we're just going to get, I think, to close out now, or to round up this energy, because, yeah. Oh, nice. Flow. Yeah, like we're flowing into this unknown space where there is no rigidity. It's all free and beautiful. There aren't any control systems, so there is no rigidity. And I feel like I know with my own personal journey, it's been squeezed out of me in the last 2 years, particularly, at a very uncomfortable rate. Like, I've had moments where I've literally feel like I'm being squeezed or pulled tight in both directions, you know, like an elastic band that's just about to bing, like so on the edge, because I had a lot of heavy conditioning around certain things, around just attachments I didn't know I had, a lot of way too much comfort zone. Like there was a lot of fear there around things. And it's like all of that energy, regardless of what it's about, it doesn't really matter. It's just where we've come from, right? But if you think about us trying to move forward into a new reality, into a new version of ourselves, into what it means to be truly free on all levels, like they are like shackles or chains that we just can't take with us, you know, and we are naturally moving in this ascension. We are being called, stretched, pulled into expansion, because that's the way the collective consciousness is going. That's the way the earth herself is going. So the medicine, I guess, the remedy, the helpful, healing, benevolent energy, and the essence of flow comes. These constructs, rigid perceptions, are not the truth. They're not reality. Let go. I'm hearing let go. It's like clinging on. It's safe to let go. Like, what are we clinging on to? Where's the fear? Actually, that's a false construct as well. What are we actually afraid of when we really think about it? So flow kind of invokes the natural rhythms as well. So it's speaking into cycles, natural movement of events around us, in our lives, in the world. The ebb and flow of the oceans and rivers. And the symbol of flow represents effortlessness and natural movement towards a certain direction or a certain destination. So it's like you're already on the path. Don't get too bogged down with what appears to be an obstacle. Okay, don't give it too much of your attention. Staying in that energy of the wish fulfilled. It signifies an ability to gracefully move around obstacles and reminds you of the sense of allowing. Beautiful. And it's so key. It's such a key energy and allowing. It's like, and it's very much water energy. We're in Pisces season right now. It's this real fluidity and the ability to come out of that air masculine energy of always thinking, doing, fixing, and that's where, if that gets overactive, that's where we get into it, expectations and control. So it's really speaking like to pull that back in, come more into the kind of the body, and flow with what is. Like the water flows around obstacles because it's certain of its destination. It knows it's going towards the sea. And deep in your soul, you know that you're moving towards something. You know that. So it speaks to a surrender into the knowing, into the watery feminine space, and anchoring some of your attention there. And I feel like that practice will kind of help to dissolve these, the energy that you've been, or just move it as well, redirect it, but also dissolve some of the power that these kind of boxes have to keep you from seeing who you truly are, from seeing something in a different way, from seeing yourself in a different way. I keep getting that it's mostly when you see yourself truly or differently, or without something that's been without limitation. Just see, can you see yourself without any limitations? What if there were no limitations? None. Can you see yourself in that space? So I'm going to read you a bit from the guidebook here, from this beautiful mystical shaman oracle. When flow comes to visit, it's a sign that your intentions have been in motion. There is movement here. There's momentum. Now is the time to allow nature to run its course. You are being called to effortless movements and the path of least resistance. It's like being within music, flowing within partnership. Think of the artist who creates without guile or craft, calling creativity up from the soul and bringing it to life without effort. You are called to be like a river, knowing the fulfillment of destiny is ensured. Enjoy the ride. That's so beautiful. I feel like as well, like we opened with this sense of like, look at ourselves a different way. All these ways that we see ourselves are just a perception. They're just another one of many, really. It's like living in a hall of mirrors, this reality sometimes. And like there's so many different aspects of ourselves. Other people are a mirror, like what is real, what is true, what is the true you within you, and where are you boxing yourself off through a limited view of what either who you are or what you can be, or both. And when we can flow with the higher guidance, with your connection that you've established, with your communion with spirit, angels, God, whatever, however that is for you, is divine, it's perfect. When you lean into that, give that more of your attention. Don't energize. I'm hearing don't energize this box. Don't energize the small space with your intention. Redirect your energy and focus on that divine communion. Focus on that divine relationship. And the wisdom, the light that comes through there will help you to dissolve this pattern or just shift your perception. I feel like there could just be like in this flow space, there could quite easily just be like a sudden shift in perception, like a aha moment. I can feel like a real potential of somebody just receiving from this surrender or this willingness to redirect your attention, take an action to do that rather than allowing your energy to get caught up in some sort of frustration over it. Change your focus to that divine relationship, and that's something's gonna come from that space, from that willingness, because it's all about that type of action, isn't it? When we're kind of like nudged and we're taking action that is in support of our healing and giving our attention and time to activities that nourish our soul, where we commune with spirit and where we pray and where we're grateful and where we're conscious of ourselves and looking at things in that way rather than giving attention to the old. There's a gift from that space is what I'm hearing. So surrender to that a little bit more. That's going to bring the flow. Like your willingness is adding to all the work that you've ever done, and that's going to increase the flow and bring something new that just dismantles this old. Shukriya, thank you. That is complete. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this reading activated something or brought deeper awareness, understanding, or healing. I'm sending you so much love. I deeply love and appreciate each and every one of you. Till next time.